The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Tuesday, April 13th. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. Tony, how you doing today?
Doing great, guys. It's our Monday, but it is Tuesday. The internet is fixed from last week. Should be a smooth show. We knock on the old wood just in case. But yeah, man, it was good. How was your weekend?
You know, it was good. Got to the movies, had a chance to relax a little bit, caught up on a few things on TV. So just what I look for in a weekend. So I'm glad that we got your internet issues figured out. The technician said that they found some leakage. Anytime there's leakage, there's always an issue, especially if it's...
I was going to say, even in the world of technology, they say leakage, it's a bad thing. So
Exactly. Well, folks, let's go ahead and kick things off the way we do each and every day with a question for my co-host. Tony, say you were a 10-year-old boy now in this day and age.
Okay.
It's about 9:30 at night. Your parents are asleep and you're craving a box of Cheerios. What do you do?
Well, I'm going to try to be as quiet as possible and go pour me them Cheerios, man. That's
What if you don't have Cheerios?
okay. Like, I don't have Cheerios at all?
You don't. Not at home.
I guess as a 10-year-old boy, you can't really sneak out of the house and stuff. So I would just eat whatever cereal I had.
All right.
But I was never an adventurous to be like, well, let me go down to the grocery store and go buy some Cheerios. Because, I mean, if I left the house that late at night, I'd probably get in trouble. So,
yeah, and that sounds about reasonable. You know, if you really wanted to be kind of sneaky, maybe you could sneak onto your parents' Instacart app and order it and have somebody deliver it. Well, that's not the case.
Yeah, that didn't exist back then. But you're right. I didn't. My mindset couldn't think like for today's standards to do that.
Well, an ambitious Stillwater boy got himself into a bit of trouble Sunday night after taking his family's van to pick up some cereal while his parents were sleeping. Stillwater police said an officer was en route on routine patrol at 9:38 p.m. Sunday when he saw a tan Chrysler minivan headed south on 2nd Street. The officer turned to drive past the van, seeing it stop in the middle of the street, and saw a 10-year-old boy sitting in the driver's seat. The officer turned around and activated his squad's emergency lights, but the van continued southbound, blowing through a stop sign before turning right onto Chestnut Street and then right onto 3rd. The van then rapidly accelerated, going around 50 miles per hour, according to the officer, who discontinued his pursuit for safety reasons, but continued tracking the van. Eventually, the van went through an intersection in reverse and went up an embankment into the front yard of a residence on 3rd Street. The officer then pulled in front of the van and blocked it with his squad car. The officer then told the boy to unlock the van and promptly placed him in the backseat of his squad car. That's when the boy told the officer his dad wanted him to have cereal before going to school in the morning, so he sent the boy to buy Cheerios at the store. The officer, thinking it was unusual, asked the boy if his father was intoxicated, and the boy confirmed that to be the case. However, when the officer took the boy home, the officer found the boy's parents had been sleeping and there were no signs of intoxication. The boy then admitted he just left home without his parents' knowledge to go to the store. The parents reported some minor damage to the side of the van, but no injuries were reported. So Ambitious is one way to put it for this kid. A flat out liar would be another way.
Yeah. It would have just been better to say, I wanted some cereal, so I left. I think that would have saved him a little more heat when he got home with his parents, because that's definitely, if it was the old days, I don't know what they do to kids nowadays, but that would be a grounding for sure. That'd be a ass whooping and a grounding for sure.
Yeah. These days, probably not so much the ass whooping, but definitely the grounding.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if the cops told, or if my kid told the cops that I was drunk and sent him out, I would be angry.
Yeah, there'd be that you need to tell the truth and you need to have better morals, bud.
Exactly.
You can't do that for sure. So,
well, speaking of better morals, we've got some pretty good morals on here on the show, and that's why we have a wonderful show lined up for you today. Let's talk about today's show, shall we?
It's Taco Tuesday!
It is Taco Tuesday, and as we do on Tuesdays, we have Animal Tales, sponsored by roughriders.org. We have a segment called Adaptation. Our call-in topic today is You Fired. We have a segment called Truth in Advertising. We round out the day with This Day in History, and Tony is up next with the entertainment news. Folks, do not go anywhere. We will be right back.
Behold, my precious. Ooh, yeah, let me tell you something right here. It's the Loot Crate subscription box, yeah, full of exclusive loot, fun surprises delivered to your door every month.
Just pick up your favorite geeky genre, Daddy.
From the original Loot Crate DX collectible boxes, dude. Cowabunga! Ooh, the Loot Gaming video game box. Woohoo! Yee-hoo! Wowzers! With crits starting as low as $11.99 per month, there's a box just about for all collectors.
To get your geek on, head over to phoenixmedia.us/Loot Crate and claim your exclusive offer. That's FENIXmedia.us/Loot Crate. Great Scott!
Snap into a Loot Crate, did
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. We've got a little thing we talk about a couple times each show. It is the Fenix Line, our 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, giving you guys the opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever. Maybe you stole your parents' car at 10 to go buy some Cheerios. We want to find out about it. Give us a call at 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We'll compile those together and put them out in a future show. Now it is the second segment of this show, and that means Tony is here with the entertainment news.
Good morning. It is Monday, April 13th, and here is your Fenix Fast 5. Well, it's the Filippo Fast 5. But hey, we'll go with the Fenix Fast 5. Nothing less than a giant. Rapper DMX did pass away over the weekend at age 50. On Friday, we said he was in grave and things weren't looking good, and unfortunately, he passed away later that day. So rest in peace, DMX. Macaulay Culkin and Brenda Song welcomed their first child, Dakota. The actors met on this film set in Thailand a few years ago and have decided to name their firstborn after Culkin's sister, Dakota, who passed away in 2008. So that's good tribute. Congrats to them on having a baby. Michael Cera joins Amy Schumer in a Hulu comedy called Life and Beth. Patriots have announced that Julian Edelman, who failed a physical, retires at age 34. I'm sure later this month we'll probably see Edelman unretires and joins the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay
Got to see that happen. Evander Holyfield is set for an exhibition against Kevin McBride as the co-main event to Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos Jr. on June 5th. So I guess maybe he's getting prepped for that Holyfield Tyson 3 fight.
I was going to say, I thought that was coming up next, but oh well.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's what I thought too. I thought it was coming up in May. I thought that was reported, but who knows? I follow boxing enough other than if it's Holyfield or Tyson. I think those are the only time they ever really make the Filippo Fast 5.
You're not all excited for the Logan Paul fight?
No. I up until recently, I hadn't heard of that guy, but that guy has been all over. He's been he punched that one guy. So he's getting into a fight, and he was at WrestleMania.
Yeah. He needs to
lame.
go.
Yeah. What has that guy done? Is he one of those YouTubers?
Exactly.
All those million YouTuber birthdays I pass over for.
Yep. He's
trying
one of
to
those.
pluck. Oh, okay. Cool beans. We're going to go into the entertainment news with our weekend box office report. The towering titans of the Monsterverse once again reign supreme at the box office this weekend as Godzilla vs. Kong remained in first place with an estimated $13.3 million. The PG-13 creature conflict fell by 58% from last weekend's 3-day figure. Well, 3-day versus 2-day, there you go. Putting the Warner Brothers release at a 12-day domestic total of $69.5 million to easily make it the highest North American box office gross of the pandemic period.
Nice.
So that's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and Skull Island sequel from director Adam Wingard also knocked in an additional 288.3 out of international crowds for a worldwide total of $357.8 million on a reported $200 million cost. That's just great news. That's, this weekend I got caught up. I didn't go do the movies like you did, but I did watch Kong Skull Island, and last night I watched Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Both good movies. I enjoyed them. So now I can go see Godzilla versus Kong and understand kind of what's going on, at least the characters that are in that flick. So
Exactly. You have a little bit better understanding than if you went in without having seen those other two.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I watched the other two. I don't know why I never watched them. They were actually a lot of fun. Good to watch. But yeah, I liked King of Monsters. That was good. Stepping into the second place was a movie you saw this weekend, Chris, and that's the Bob Odenkirk action thriller Nobody with $2.6 million on its third weekend. Universal's R-rated revenge movie, which will be hitting video on demand this Friday, has a domestic total of $15.6 million and $28.7 million worldwide on a reported cost of $16 million. So I feel like it's done pretty good for what it was supposed to do in the box office. What did you think of the movie since you happened to actually go and see that?
I enjoyed the hell out of it. It had very much a John Wick vibe to it. So if you enjoyed the John Wick movies, you'll enjoy this. His dog wasn't murdered, so it wasn't revenge in that sense, but he did gain a cat. So, take it as you will. But they didn't do a whole lot of marketing for it. So the fact that it's more than made back its budget, I think they're more than happy.
Yeah, well, that's good. I definitely want to see it, especially after you told me about it on the Proton Pack when you discussed it. It was definitely cool to hear. So I thought it'd be great for our audience to know how that movie was.
And it's interesting to see Bob Odenkirk in a role like that. You're used to him as sort of like the slimy lawyer in Better Call Saul and, more of a funny thing. But, him being sort of a badass, you're not used to seeing it, but he does it pretty well.
That's awesome. I look forward to seeing that. Let's see if there's other movies that you guys want to see, because rounding out the top 10, you had number 3, The Unholy, starring Negan. That total is up to 6.7. Raya and the Last Dragon is up to 35.2 at number 4. Voyagers is a Colin Farrell movie that you and I had no idea what that was. It debuted with 1.35 million. Tom and Jerry, which has... as much as I don't want to see that movie, I got to give it the props. It brought in 1.1 million, bringing its total to 41.1, which is respectable. It's the second largest out there. The Girl Who Believes in Miracles, its total is 1.3. The Courier, 4.9. Vakil Saab, the movie that Christian and I cannot wait to review at some point, brought in 0.4 million. Chaos Walking with Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland is number 10, bringing in 2.65 and its total to 12.6. It is now on video on demand. And next week we have a new challenger in Mortal Kombat. I got a feeling we're going to have a new number 1 movie. Just
Fatality. Definitely.
Which that movie looks awesome. I can't wait to see that.
It looks like so much fun, especially compared to the 1995, 97 movies. This just looks, R-rated, a Mortal Kombat movie
R-rated.
We want to see.
Oh, it's going to be great. A little movie news here. Shazam 2. Shazam 2 we know is coming. Lucy Liu has officially joined the cast as the cast of Shazam Fury of the Gods, the highly anticipated sequel to 2019's Shazam! Liu will play the villainous Calypso, the daughter of Atlas and the sister of Helen Mirren's Hespera. Liu is joining Zachary Levi, who's reprising his title role, as well as a new cast members, Rachel Zegler and Mirren. The nature of Zegler's role is unknown at this time. David Sandberg is directing the sequel, and the screenplay by Henry Gayden. The sequel will continue the story of teenage Billy Batson, who, upon reciting the magic word Shazam, is struck by the living lightning of the gods and transformed into his adult superhero alter ego, Shazam. Let's play a drinking game. How many times will I say that? Jeez Louise. So that should be good. It's good to see that Lucy Liu still doing movies. Great actress. Didn't know Helen Mirren was joining the cast, but there's another big one. So it's shaping up to be good. The first one was a lot of fun. What say you?
Yeah, the first one was sort of a departure to what we expect from the DC movies, sort of dark and brooding. It was fun, lighthearted, hilarious, and I just expect more of the same with this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we know, with this whole box office, everything's been shifted. We report almost like every week there's some type of shift or something's going up. Well, this episode wouldn't be complete if I didn't have a few of those for you.
Right.
We can tell you first that Top Gun Maverick is going to no longer be coming out July 2nd this year, as it's taking flight back to November 19th, which will push Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible 7 all the way to May 27th, which replaces Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible 8 to July 7th, 2023. So a little Tom Cruise shuffling there. Disappointed that Maverick's been pushed back so far. Would have liked to maybe have seen that move up to the May slot. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of big movies in May. I think Top Gun and Ghostbusters would have been perfect from a November. Like if you would have taken those, instead of pushing those till November, push those to May. Let's get this summer movie season kicking off with 2 just badass movies we were expecting last year. But it's not what's happening. That's just me fanboying, wishing it would go that way. But nonetheless, still coming this year. Both those movies will be out in November. Blumhouse's The Forever Purge is moving up to July 2nd from its July 9th slot because it was going up against Black Widow, which just straight was going to forever purge that movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's moving up 1 week. Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, does not want to go up against the Forever Purge, so it's moving up to June 18th. Why is that a summer movie? I don't get that one.
I don't see a lot of cross-pollination between the audiences for Forever Purge and Peter Rabbit. So I think it would be okay if they went up against each other.
Yeah, I think you'd be fine. Snake Eye G.I. Joe Origins is going from October 22nd to the 23rd. Jackass is going from September 3rd to October 22nd. An untitled Bee Gees movie will now open November 4th, 2022. Didn't know that was happening. And then so forth. But we do know that Free Guy is going to come out in July as well as The Jungle Cruise. So no needs to be heard on that. And that's going to be it on your entertainment news because we have like 56 seconds before the end of this segment. So let's just roll on to the birthdays. I'll save the other stories for tomorrow. MLB outfielder who was a member of the 2012 and 2014 world champion San Francisco Giants, Hunter Pence, is 37. He became known for playing a menacing demon in Hellboy and playing biker Clay in FX's Sons of Anarchy. Ron Perlman is 70. Do you know that guy used to get bullied?
Really?
Like, he looks like he'd be the bully. He looked like he'd be the guy, you know? This one it will be fun to do. It's been a while since I was on the outside with my mud shovel. I just wish I would break the cycle of dysfunction because this is it. I just wish I was back home. American musician, best known as the lead singer and guitarist for Stained, Aaron Lewis is 49. I just had to get a bunch of Stained references in there. He played the Grim Reaper in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, came back Melvin Free for part 3. Where did it go? William Sadler is 70. I had that in there twice in a space. That kind of threw me off, Mr. Ron Burgundy. And that was it for the birthdays today. They're just very limited birthdays, so it all worked out well. Happy birthday.
Nothing wrong with that, folks. That does it for the entertainment news. When we come back, we've got Animal Tales, sponsored by roughriders.org. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm going to do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Indeed. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show, and we are all over social media with many of you watching us as we speak on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Now, if you want to get a hold of me on social, I'm available at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. That's Kristian with a K, Fenix with an F, radio, of course, with an R, or on Instagram and Twitter at Fenix Media Radio. Tony is available at facebook.com/Tony.Sanfilippo. That's SANFILIPPO.94, or on Instagram at Tony.Sanfilippo81. Now, being that it is Tuesday, we like to run down animal tales, fun stories about animals, sponsored by roughriders.org. Now, Rough Riders is a local 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the transport of dogs from the rural shelters where they may not have a chance, bringing them here into the more metro area here in northern Nevada, Reno. Work with other shelters and rescue organizations to find them homes, give them a second chance at life. If you want more information, head over to roughriders.org. That's RUFF Riders.org, or on Facebook at facebook.com/roughriderssaves. With that being said, let's roll on into Animal Tales.
Dogs and the cats, they take up the middle where the honeybee hums and the cricket fiddles, the donkey brays and the pony neighs, the old great badger sighs.
Listen to the bass, it's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and groans with the big to-do, and the old cow just goes moo.
The cow says moo.
That cow does say moo.
Kicking off Animal Tales, let's start with one that, I found quite strange. In Cincinnati, police in Price Hill have been on the search for furry fugitives after multiple calls of monkeys on the loose came into dispatch. For hours, I was just shook because that's not something you see every day, Sammy Trin said. Trin said she saw at least 5 monkeys across from her home near St. Joseph's Cemetery on West 8th Street. That's why we instantly pulled out cameras, because it doesn't even sound believable, Lucky Griffith said. Griffith and Trin recorded a video of what they saw. They said the video was recorded at about 10 p.m. Wednesday and is grainy. Trin said the video shows 3 monkeys in a tree, but that there are 2 more on the ground that can't be seen in the video. Another woman also said she saw one of the monkeys. I was right here and it was standing over by the garbage can, the woman said. Its arms were real long, like hanging down, and its arms were really skinny. The Cincinnati Zoo said none of their monkeys were missing. Police did not spot any of the monkeys, leaving the monkey mystery open Thursday afternoon. One woman said she came out to get her cat and took pictures. I thought the monkeys the monkeys were gone, I started making jokes showing my mom. My mom thought I was crazy. I said, look, there's a monkey out here. Then I heard it making noises, not ooh, ooh, ah, ah stuff, but grunts. So I didn't know what it was, Alicia Tucker said. I just stood there as my eyes adjusted to pitch blackness, and that is when I saw it. Just standing there, taller than the garbage can, and its arms were real long, hanging down, and really skinny. Officials with the Cincinnati Zoo say if monkeys are in fact on the loose, they didn't come from the zoo. We've received lots of inquiries and want to make sure people know that all primates being cared for at the Cincinnati Zoo are here and never left, zoo officials said. The police received reports from private citizens that they saw monkeys in the Price Hill area late last night, but they have not been able to find any. Any questions or information should be directed to the Cincinnati Police Department. My only question is, who started playing Jumanji?
Yeah, exactly. Well, the answer is 2020. Right?
I mean, it goes to
year of Jumanji.
Yeah, monkeys are running loose. They don't belong to the zoo. Couple kids came across a board playing some drums, and of course, now there's going to be rhinos and ostriches, and it's just going to be pure chaos.
It's going to be chaos. You better call The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Exactly, but you know what? They have to finish the game in order for it to stop. So
it's true.
Let's roll on with our next story in Animal Tales. An Ottawa woman is hugging her dog extra tight after the pup rescued her during a sudden medical emergency. Haley Moore was walking her dog Clover through her neighborhood in Sittsville, Ottawa, one morning last week when she passed out and began seizing. All I remember is waking up in the ambulance and being really confused, just like what is going on, Haley told the news outlet. A neighbor's security footage obtained by CTV shows Haley collapsing on the side of the road and Clover immediately jumping into action. In the video, the pup jumped into the middle of the road and flagged down Dryden Ote, who was driving his van down the street. He quickly exited his vehicle to assist Haley under Clover's watchful eye. It was really impressive. The dog actually blocked my way. She kind of backed into the road to block my truck. Ote? Every time I say it, it makes me think of Little Rascals. Ote. Told CTV, adding, the whole time she was backing down the street, she had eyes on Haley, didn't look away from her. She kept her distance from me, but made sure her owner was okay. And that was amazing. Not long after, Clover was able to track down another passerby to help. You could tell she didn't want to leave her even when we were with her, but I think it just came to her that she was like, I need to go home to let them know she needs help. Danielle Pylon, who stopped to offer a hand, told CTV. Clover then went to track down the rest of Haley's family to alert them of the situation. When Haley's parents arrived, she was being treated by paramedics. So just a wonderful story of a dog that, did what it had to do, wasn't prompted, but essentially stopped a car, flagged somebody down, got them over to, their owner who was having a seizure and may otherwise not be with us if the dog didn't move into action.
Well, that's a good dog for sure right there. I got confused in the story. I got a little distracted with a lot of the Otes, but overall, I mean, dogs are just awesome. Like they can sense when you're having issues, anything like that, and just good animals.
Yeah, I dare you to find a cat that'll do that, right?
It'd be tough. I'm sure there are. There are some good cats, though. Surprisingly. But a dog more likely than a cat.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to our final story in Animal Tales. What kind of animal is that?
That's a little chewy.
Several years after a series of giant, transparent, jelly-like blobs were found hovering in the ocean off the coast of Norway, scientists have finally figured out what they are. The meter-wide blobs drift midway between the ocean floor and the surface, and save for the black streaking through the center, were completely featureless. But thanks to DNA testing, scientists have figured out the blob is not merely alive, but hundreds of thousands of living things. The blobs are sacs containing countless numbers of tiny eggs belonging to a relatively common squid called Ilex coindeti, or the broad-tail short-fin squid. The blob itself is far bigger than the squid that made it. The female squid makes the sac out of its own mucus, and by the time the flimsy sphere has disintegrated, the baby squid are ready to be born. The findings were published last week in Scientific Reports. Scientists theorize the dark streak through the middle of the wobbly orb is ink from the mother squid injected during the reproduction cycle. They also believe the ink could be used as a way of deterring curious potential predators. Spheres with or without ink may be a result of spheres being at different maturity stages, where spheres with ink are freshly spawned, the study read. After a while, when embryos start developing, the whole sphere, including the streak, will start to disintegrate. The broad-tailed short-fin squid can grow up to 30 centimeters in length and is found in the North Atlantic, Mediterranean, the Gulf of Mexico, and off the coast of Suriname, Venezuela, and Namibia. Its numbers are on the rise in the North Sea off the coast of Norway, with overfishing in the region allowing it to flourish with fewer predators. And I'm going to post all of these on our Facebook page, but these gelatinous sacs are massive. There's pictures of scuba divers right next to it, and these orbs are almost as big as the scuba divers. It's crazy.
Yeah, the ocean's full of so much weird things, like it's one of those, I love being on the ocean. I love to put my feet in it, but as far as getting like deep into it, not so much. Like I was reading a thing that they think like octopus and squid and stuff are some type of form of alien. Like when you think about it, you're kind of like, you think of all the alien type movies where they like suck your face and they go scrambling. They do look a little octopus and a little squid-like. So, yeah, I legit site read that they think that they were put like it could be like a foreign thing. You have to believe in the aliens and all that crap for that to really justify and make sense. But when you think about it, it doesn't seem that far off because they are really weird and unique creatures. So.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, watching movies, the aliens that people make up in their minds for these movies are sometimes not nearly as weird as the creatures that are in our own oceans or even roaming on land. So
like that whole time I was thinking with that blob moving around, I go like, is that an alien thing moving through the water? It's weird.
Luckily, it's not. But folks, that does it for Animal Tales on this Tuesday. When we come back, we've got Adaptation. So don't go anywhere. Find out exactly what that means. We'll see you guys in just a few.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. We made it to the final segment of the first hour of this episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show, but do not fret, there is still plenty ahead with our second hour, including our call-in topic of You Fired. Now, in this, nope, I missed the announcement. If you missed a portion of the
You're
show,
fired.
or want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, it's easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, Amazon, about 20 in all. While you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review, let us know what you think, and tell your friends, because sharing is caring. Now, in this segment that I've titled Adaptation, comes actually from the other day, was scrolling through, came across Ready Player One, and the movie, not the book, but it actually plays in perfectly into what we're going to be talking about, because there is a section in that movie where the clue is a creator who hated his own creation. Of course, they were talking about Stanley Kubrick and the movie adaptation of The Shining. And you talk to a lot of people, and you ask them if they like the book or the movie better. More often than not, they'll say the book because it goes a little more in depth, or the movie has changed so many things. So what we're going to be running down is a series of authors who were very, disappointed with the adaptations of their books. So let's go ahead and start off with this one. Disappointed! P.L. Travers, the author of Mary Poppins. Of course, the book came out in 1934. The first one did. It was 8 books published between 1934 and 1988. The movie came out in 1964. Well, Travers and Walt Disney, who was determined to adapt her books after promising his daughters he would, had such a contentious working relationship that a whole other movie was made about it in 2013, Saving Mr. Banks. Despite her attempt to keep an iron grip on the film's direction, Travers ultimately despised the animated sequences and the way the movie watered down the more disciplinarian side of Poppins. The author despised it so much, she wept through the entire premiere. Boy, you really have to hate a movie if you're crying.
Yikes.
Yeah.
It's not good, because it wasn't a bad movie. I remember watching it as a kid. It's a classic.
Well, and that's the thing, a lot of people have fond memories of the movie classic, but it was, I guess, far different than the book. So
yeah, well, yeah, I guess. And then if you put yourself in her shoes, that's not the vision she had. That would be like Disney, basically took your idea, or in this scenario, Disney took your idea and your creation and stuff, but told their own story for their own gain, and left yours just kind of over there. Yeah, it's great. You created that character, but this is what we're doing with this character.
Yeah. And, she sold the rights, so they can do what they want to, unfortunately. Well, let's keep moving on. We're talking authors who hated their film adaptations. Disappointed! For instance, Rick Riordan, who was the author of the Percy Jackson series, 5 books published between 2005 and 2009. And of course, you had 2 movies, The Lightning Thief, that came out in 2010, and Sea of Monsters in 2013. Riordan has been open about his disappointment in the film adaptations of his work. So have the fans. Though he's never actually watched the movies, he read the scripts, and apparently that was more than enough. In 2018, Riordan released the letters he wrote to the filmmakers during development, laying out his concerns and disappointments. Among them, the decision to age up the characters to the late teens. It kills any possibility of a movie franchise. And straight up bad writing. The script has, as a whole is terrible. Hopefully the upcoming Disney Plus adaptation rights these wrongs. Now, I didn't realize that there was a Disney Plus adaptation, but if they know it's good for them, they'd get Rick Riordan involved and, do what they can to make it right.
Yeah, don't you think they would add, like, they kind of get with the author and kind of see what their vision was so they could kind of build around? Because Friday chimed in while you were reading that. She said the author for Mary Poppins, the big thing there is they didn't want any animation or singing, obviously, and that was a big tie-in for that. But then again, if you're at the time with Disney, that was your bread and butter. You had to have some animation, you had to have some singing. That was just the way it was.
Well, not only that, but back then they would buy the rights and could do whatever they want with it. Now they're starting to get the authors more involved. For instance, we were talking Ready Player One. Ernst Cline, he was directly involved in the writing of that movie. Had to make changes based on what rights Warner Brothers had, but he was happy with it because of the fact that he was involved. Speaking of Ready Player One, and moving on with authors who hated the film adaptations.
Disappointed!
The example I gave here at the beginning was The Shining. So obviously written by Stephen King in 1977. The movie came out in 1980. Well, despite the fact that Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is considered a spooky classic, the king of horror himself was not impressed. He thought the character arc of protagonist Jack Torrance was lacking, and once said that Wendy is one of the most misogynistic characters ever put on film. Luckily, King has had plenty of opportunities to enjoy other adaptations of his work. As of 2019, around 50 King movies were either already released or in production, and he got a chance to right the wrong a little bit with the sequel to that in Dr. Sleep, which just came out, I want to say 2 years ago.
Yeah, it has been about 2 years since that came out. I still have not seen that one.
Really?
I never watched it. I wanted to.
It's on HBO Max. Check it out. It's fun.
Well, I'll have to add it to my eventual list.
Well, let's keep rolling on. We're talking authors who hated the film adaptations.
Disappointed!
Here's one I never knew about. Roald Dahl, who wrote Charlie and the Chocolate
Oh, yeah,
Factory.
and James and the Giant Peach, right?
Exactly. And of course, you had the movie that came out, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in 1971. Well, Roald Dahl is actually the credited screenwriter on the movie, but despite that rare level of creative control, he was still dissatisfied with the final product. He thought Gene Wilder was miscast as the eccentric candy tycoon, and he took offense to some of the small changes made to his script. I still say it's a classic. I love Gene Wilder's performance. That's one where my guess is that he was more upset with the small changes than anything else.
Yeah, Friday chimed in said he hated what they did to that movie. I thought it was great. I could see, like, if he watched the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp, which I personally liked, but I could see the author hating that one, but. I never read the book, so I don't know the big differences. I thought Gene Wilder did a fantastic job in that role. He kind of came off as a pretentious Charlie or Willy Wonka. He's kind of like, he was kind of nice, but he was overall kind of a dick.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess when you run a candy empire, you can afford to be. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, moving on with authors who hated their film adaptations.
Disappointed!
Boy, another Stanley Kubrick one here on the list. Anthony Burgess, who wrote A Clockwork Orange, published in 1962. Of course, the movie came out in 1971. Kubrick cannot keep these writers happy. Though Burgess was reportedly initially pleased with the adaptation of his dystopian classic, that good first impression didn't last. Burgess took issue with the director's decision to remove the 21st and final chapter of the book from the plot of the film. Until 1986, American editions didn't include the 21st chapter out of fear audiences wouldn't be convinced of the ultraviolet violent protagonist's redemption. He was also displeased with how little money he made from the adaptation. The author developed such a contentious view of Kubrick that in the stage adaptation he published in 1987, a man bearded like Stanley Kubrick is kicked off stage. Boy, he hated it so much he even kicked off a character that looked like him in the play.
Wow. That's crazy. I actually never saw Clockwork Orange either. I know the main character, what he looks like and everything. You can see them again. They're in Space Jam.
Which is a
New
weird
Legacy.
place to put those characters.
Yeah. They're in there. They're in the crowd. It's crazy if they hated it that much, especially when a lot of these ones you're doing are a lot of the older ones. So that was probably before they had creative control and rights. Like Friday had let me know J.K. Rowling, she had a direct hand in the Harry Potter with Universal, which is why those were so successful and so good, is because she had her vision and everything. And I'd say that played out pretty well. But this is stuff that apparently didn't play out very well. And, for all intents and purposes, I found like these movies you're using are very, the ones I have seen were actually pretty good. So...
Yeah. The authors got paid for it, so they can't complain too much. But at the same time, it's hard to see your creation bastardized, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on, talking authors who hated their film adaptations.
Disappointed!
This one I'm surprised by. E.B. White, author of Charlotte's Web, published in 1952. Of course, the animated movie came out in 1973. White won some battles with the team behind the Hanna-Barbera cartoon production, including insisting that they keep Charlotte's death in the film, despite fears that it was way too dark for a young audience. Regardless, White and his wife both hated the finished product, referring to it in private letters as a travesty. So, even in animation, you can't get that true adaptation. But you think about it, a hour-and-a-half movie versus a 200, 300-page book, you're not going to get everything in there.
No, it's going to be shrunken down. As a kid, I didn't find the Charlotte scene to be that devastating when she died.
No, I didn't.
She did her thing. It explained why she was going to die. It's like it didn't come as a surprise. Like she told Wilbur, "I'm going to die. Like this is the circle of life." And he's like, "No, Charlotte, no. I'm a radiant pig." And I've seen that cartoon a few times.
I can tell. Well, folks, that does it for the first hour of the show. We're headed into our long break, so go grab yourself a cup of tea, use the bathroom, listen to the news, and when we come back, we've got our call-in topic of You Fired. When were you fired or brutally fired? We want to know about it. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in about 7 minutes.
7.
You're listening to Phoenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the multiverse of pop culture entertainment. To explore our complete lineup of quality programs, head over to phoenixmedia.us or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Phoenix Media Radio.
In feature story news in London, I'm Chris Jones. Protesters have defied a curfew in Minnesota to protest for a second evening after police killed a 20-year-old black man named Duante Wright. An officer accidentally shot him on Sunday afternoon, believing she was using her taser. Nick Hopp reports.
Demonstrators have taken to the streets of Brooklyn Center in Minnesota beyond the 7 p.m. curfew. Some chanted "Kill a cop." A handful threw rocks at police in riot gear. Wright was killed during a traffic stop on Sunday. Police say the female officer thought she was holding her taser when she pulled the trigger, killing the 20-year-old. The incident in the Minneapolis suburb happened just a few miles from where George Floyd was killed last May and where Derek Chauvin is currently on trial for his murder. The defense is due to begin its case later on Tuesday, with closing arguments expected on Monday. I'm Nick Harper in Washington.
Surge testing is underway in parts of London after a sudden increase in the number of people testing positive for the COVID-19 variant first detected in South Africa. People in those areas are being urged to get tested as soon as possible. Laura Macon-Isherwood reports.
44 cases of the COVID-19 variant first detected in South Africa have now been confirmed in 2 areas of South London. A further 33 people are also suspected to have it. It's a surge in numbers that has worried officials, health bosses calling the cluster significant. And with 1 in 3 people infected with coronavirus showing no symptoms, the Mayor of London is urging everyone in Wandsworth and Lambeth to get checked as soon as possible. The government announced last week the public would be able to freely access twice-weekly tests, even without symptoms. Now it's getting the largest surge testing operation to date underway too. Those who have tested positive are already isolating. Laura Macon-Isherwood, London.
And England has begun its rollout of the Moderna vaccine, the nation's 3rd approved jab, in what NHS medical directors are calling another milestone in Britain's world-leading vaccination programme. Benji Hire reports from London.
For months, Oxford AstraZeneca and Pfizer-BioNTech shots have been used in the UK, but now those in England eligible for a vaccine may be offered the Moderna one. The rollout comes as the government announces that people aged 45 or older can get inoculated, as the vaccination programme enters the next stage after all over 50s and those in high-risk groups, that's more than 32 million people, were offered a first dose. Anyone under 30 receiving a vaccine in the coming weeks or months might be given the Moderna jab as an alternative to AstraZeneca amid concerns over links to blood clots. Benji Hire, London.
Taiwan's government says 25 Chinese military aircraft entered the island's air defense identification zone on Monday. The incursion, which included fighters as well as nuclear-capable bombers, was the largest reported to date. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the end, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke. When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go. Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this. To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. Cool. Very cool. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this business.
Welcome back, folks, to the second hour of this episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Tuesday, April 13th. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. I'm still joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. Tony, are you ready for the fastest hour of the day?
I sure am, buddy. I'm ready to roll. Still
Right
doing
on.
good. Getting good reports that no glitchy, no blurry. So that's good.
All good, all smooth, no more leakage. That's all you can
No
ask
more
for.
leakage. Yeah, that's all you can ask for.
Well, folks, this is the interactive portion of the show where we want to hear from you guys, the listeners and watchers, on our topic of the day, which is why we give it 24 hours in advance. Hopefully, you'll give us a call on the Fenix line at 855-Fenix Radio. Of course, you can chime in live on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Just click into the live video there and comment with your choice or your story or whatever it may be. And of course, as we do in the next segment, once we get through all of your interaction, you can join us live on the Stereo app at stereo.com/Fenix Media. Today's topic is...
You're fired.
You fired. When were you hilariously, ridiculously, brutally fired from a job? We want to hear about it. What stemmed this was Jesse and I were watching Friends last week, and there was a episode where Phoebe starts working for a teleconference, basically a mail order toner business. And Jesse just sort of out of the blue goes, I got fired from a mail order business, which I had no idea. Apparently, back in the day, she used to take calls from a clothing mail order catalog and was so bad at it that not only did they let her go, but when she had all of her stuff in her box and she was walking out to leave to the car, whatever it was, the bottom of the box spilled open, all of her stuff went everywhere. And of course, as you do after you've gotten fired and something like that has happened, she broke down, and I feel so bad for her, even though I didn't even know her when that happened. So that's what we're looking for. When were you brutally, hilariously fired? Tony, do you have any firing stories to share?
No, I've never been fired, so I don't know what it's like. I know I've quit jobs. I've hilariously just left jobs, but I've never been like, okay, turn in your keys, you're out of here. So, the closest thing that ever came to that was Hollywood Video, when I had all my buddies working there, and then two of them decided when I was so at the time I was a manager, and who the hell has a manager at like 17 years old, you know?
Right.
Yeah, stupid. So I'm in the back doing counting, and they didn't have the video cameras, and I won't say their names, but those two dudes, they were out in the back and they were stealing Dreamcasts and all kinds of crap from the back door. And then one of the guys' parents caught. So the two guys lived together, and then the parent of one of them asked one of the guys where he got it, and he goes, "Oh, well, so then it was reported that they stole. So when they came up missing on my shift, they couldn't prove it. But because those guys were stealing on my shift, they had asked me, they said, well, you know, you're not fired, but we're going to you have your choice. You could either turn in your keys or you can go." So it was kind of, in a way, I guess it was the closest thing I had. They never said I was fired. They just gave me the ultimatum. I could go on my own terms, or they were going to take my keys from me. So that's what led me to Teleperformance, where I met my future ex-wife, and led me here and led me on my journey. Was probably that moment. I mean, I remember being pissed off because it wasn't my fault. You know, I had no control that those dudes were stealing. I wasn't, but those dudes were out the back door jacking product and stuff. And how would I know? I'm not there watching them, and there's no cameras. So
exactly.
But that was the end of my Hollywood video career.
Yeah. Well, so you were about that close to being fired. You know,
I was close. Yeah. Close.
You wanted to take the high road out, but no. And then, you know, you were mentioning the Teleperformance, and I had a fun quitting story with that one, just in that, you know, it got to the point where
it led to both of us working there together too. Yeah. You should share that story. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever been fired. I've never heard the words "you're fired." So
I've never been fired, but in that case, you know, it was lunchtime. I told Tony, "Hey, you know, I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab some lunch." Peeled out of the parking lot, never came back.
You bastard! I knew you were leaving too.
Yeah,
I got one good thing two good things from that job. I had the good memories of you and I, like, purposely trying to sabotage our call. You and I tried to get fired from that job.
We did.
Remember?
Yep.
Your mom wouldn't let you quit. My mom wouldn't let me quit. And we did everything. I mean, there was some no-call, no-shows. There was blatantly hanging up on the customer. You and I both got recorded on there, like, being goofballs to the customer. Like, we had to sell burpees, garden seeds, and what was it, Flying Stream magazine or something like that. Yeah. And I remember Kristian was in the middle of a sale, and I would reach over and I'm like, "It's a scam." And then he would reach over during one of my sales and he would hit the hang up button right when I was in the middle. I'm like, "All right, now all I need is that credit card." Click. And I'm like, "No."
We did everything we could to try and get fired, but we
didn't happen.
So,
no.
But what we are talking about is
you're fired.
We want to know from you guys, when were you fired? Ridiculously, brutally, whatever it may be. So we are headed into our commercial break, but when we come back, it is all about you guys. Head over to our Facebook page or join us on the Stereo app. When we come back, we'll be talking to you. See you guys soon.
Behold, my precious. Ooh, yeah, let me tell you something right here. It's the Loot Crate subscription box, yeah, full of exclusive loot, fun surprises delivered to your door every month.
Just pick up your favorite geeky genre, Daddy.
From the original Loot Crate, the Loot Crate DX collectible boxes, dude! Cowabunga!
To the Loot Gaming video game box. Woohoo! Yee-hoo!
box. What's with kids today, huh?
Wowzers! With crits starting as low as $11.99 per month, there's a box just about for all collectors. To get your geek on, head over to phoenixmedia.us/Loot Crate and claim your exclusive offer. That's FENIX media.us/Loot Crate. Great Scott!
Snap into a loot crate, dig it?
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. We are smack dab in the middle of the interactive portion of the show where we want to hear from you guys, the listeners and watchers, on our topic of the day. Now, if you want to chime in, head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Click into the live video there and go ahead and comment with a hilarious way or brutal way that you were fired, or stick around when we open up the Stereo app. You can chat with us live. Just get into that queue there by going to stereo.com/Fenix Media. Now, Tony, I know you reached out to our usual super fans. Have any of them been fired? And if they have, were they ridiculous or brutal?
So I have reached out to them. Our friend Stacy, never been fired, so she's in the same boat as us. Lacey, so after I spent a year at keeping my boss's salon running while she was dealing with her son being a preemie, she demoted me via text when I came back to work while Bella was still in the hospital for also being a preemie. She replaced me with one of my good friends and her BFF, who had once quit by sneaking into the shop at night and taking all of her stuff and all the other stylists a few years before I started there. A few months in, I asked for a day off because Michael had surprised me with concert tickets. They threw a fit, and I pointed out it was crap because Jess, the boss's BFF, would leave almost every day for hours at a time. I worked my ass off that week, and on the end of the day, that Saturday, they sat me down and let me go. I never heard a word from my actual boss, and the last time I ever heard from her was the day she sent her a message when her dad passed away. That's really shitty. That's I feel bad for you, Lace. I mean, you're better off now. You're in a much better place. But that to me is just when you work for, I can't say that you and I ever worked for I can't speak for you. I've never worked for a ma and pop place. It's always been like a little bit of a corporate or a chain. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't imagine working for a ma and pop place and being treated like that's pretty crappy. I mean, but especially when you show dedication and all that, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it sounds like, you're probably better off, Lacey, for no longer working there, no longer having that person be your boss. And, maybe it's one of those things where, everything happens for a reason, even though it was a crappy way to be let go.
Absolutely. And then Michael said he's never really been let go. It's more of a layoff, but he was working at a sports card shop and he worked there. He worked at right after high school, but they couldn't afford to keep the extra employees, so they had to let him go. But what a cool job, though, working in a card shop.
That would
Back
be
in
cool,
the day,
yeah.
heck yeah, man. That would have been a lot of fun. Kind of like the video store. That was a lot
I was
of
going to
fun.
say, we worked at the movie theaters and the video store, which, a lot of people think the same thing. Oh, it would have been so cool to work there, which, yeah, actually it was.
What's crazy is you and I worked together at Northgate Movies. We worked together at Hollywood Video, and we worked together at Shitty Taylor Performance.
We like two of those. Can you guess the third one?
Yeah, could you guess the two? Jeez.
Exactly.
That's funny. Mike said he spent just as much time in there after he wasn't working. So that was a great, card shops are great. Jamie Anna, she chimed in and she's never been fired, but she wanted to share a story of one. She said she's seen coworkers fired for some crazy stuff. At one restaurant, a girl pretended like she lost and she lost her wallet book. It got stolen. She either lost or it got stolen, is what she said. She said so pretty much like $300 to $400 in cash in it, but she collaborated with the kitchen guy to take it so they could split the cash.
Ugh.
So she did it so they would give her the money. Like, oh my God, somebody took my wallet. I need it. But yeah, that's pretty elaborate, dude. That's
but it sounds like they
deserve to.
And luckily, somebody told them.
You're fired.
Yeah, that should be one, like, hilarious times your coworkers have been fired. Like, because I've seen people throughout my careers at Costco get fired for some of the dumbest things you wouldn't believe.
Well, maybe we'll visit it down the line. And
yeah, but as far as that goes, but it's good to know that our listeners have not had to experience too much of that, except poor Lacey. That one's frustrating. I don't even know that lady. I just feel like Kristian said, you're better off. So
exactly.
I'm interested to see how this the radio app fires up today for this.
Well, Tony mentioned it, so we might as well roll into a little stereo app roulette. And again, folks, if you do want to chime in live via voice, head over to stereo.com/Fenix Media. It'll put you in queue here with us. So let's go ahead and go on into it. All right, going live, looking for our first. How you doing? Wow.
How about now, Scotty Down?
All right, let's go with our second one. How are you doing today? You're on the Kristian Fenix radio show.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Good. So we're talking about times that maybe you were hilariously, ridiculously, or brutally fired from your job. Do you have a story you'd like to share?
Of course. One time I was younger than I am now. I was still young. I'm like 27, around that age. So, one time I was walking at this guy's house, out in the yard, doing some work for him, take a little cat on the side, as you might know. I had no job time, two jobs, working at the guy's yard, working at a bar. And I was, younger than I am now. And the guy working in the yard was a bitch to me every single time. So I thought I'd get maybe about 1-2 years before I ask him for a raise. Okay. I figured he's gonna be bitch to me. I'm gonna ask him for a raise to get money out of him. Just get money and make sure and see you're gonna give him money. I'll let me bitch me. I don't care anymore. Cause I feel like I've been, hated on by my sister and a lot of people that I know over the years. So mostly I'm kind of used to being yelled at and in trouble or whatever. But this guy bitched me for no reason at all. So I waited about a few days and I told him, "Sir, I don't mind working for you, but I need a raise." And you're like, you fucking motherfucker, what do you think you need to raise for? I'm paying you $10 an hour. I said, man, $10 an hour ain't enough. I'm trying to work for it. I'm trying to work towards a house, towards a car. I found I need support. I can't do $10 an hour. I ain't gonna help me out much. So after about 2 days later, he never gave the raise, and I started cussing him out. Next time he fired me.
Oh.
I said, I don't care, fucker. I got a job. I got to bowl my mother. So I don't care. I get back. That's all I do your house.
Well, we appreciate.
So
I had to go. Wow.
You wrote that longer than I thought you were. Can we go down the short one? F-bomb. Bitch.
It was hard to understand. Well, we are moving on. You're on the Kristian Fenix radio show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
It's waiting to become the physical type.
So we're talking times that, maybe you were hilariously or brutally fired from a job. Any short story you'd like to share with us? Apparently not.
Well, I didn't mean to hit the physical type button. But maybe that scared him.
There you go. Yeah. And it is searching for somebody. Here we go. How are you doing? Wow. All right. Moving on. How are you doing? You're on the Kristian Fenix radio show. Or not. Need at least one more good one. How are you doing today?
Hello.
Hi. So we are talking time that you were maybe brutally, ridiculously, even hilariously fired from a job. Any story you'd like to share with us?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just new in this social network, and I'm trying to figure it out.
Hey, not a problem. Well, drop us a follow, and hopefully, you can join us a little bit later on when you get a little better sense of it. All right, maybe one more.
Come on. No whammy, no whammy.
No whammies. Come on. Boy, struggling looking for people today.
Today is a tough one, yeah.
It is. Maybe something about Tuesday. How are you doing? You're on the Kristian Fenix radio show.
Hello.
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 Hi. So we're talking about a time that maybe you were ridiculously or brutally fired from a job. Any story you'd like to share with us?
Oh my God, that's a crazy. I almost got fired when I was like 14. I was working for my town at a day camp, and the first day of work, there was this little Korean boy, right? He didn't speak no English. He only knew how to say, "Can I go home?" Right?
All right.
And then so then he just kept saying, "Can I go home?" We're like, "Fuck no, little kid, your mama's coming." And then at the end of the day, when we're just sitting down with all the kids, I see my boss walking towards me, holding this little nigga's hand, and she was just like, "Yeah."
And that's where we got to cut it out there. So,
kids, she said jigga, like get jiggy with it.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, Friday, you are right. That was a live one. That was like, at first I go, yes, she said the F word, and we apologize. She did drop the N word, but it's unfortunately the live aspect, which most of the times is pretty funny, but yeah, she went on a little rant, and I was a little worried when she said the little Korean boy. I'm like,
yeah, where's it going?
Because at first I'm like, she sounds so sweet, and then nope,
not so much.
Nope.
There's certain words we'll accept. That one is certainly not one of them.
Yeah, you drop the N-bomb, you're gone. Exactly. You get like one F, you're like, okay. Yeah.
Well, folks, that does it for the interactive portion of the show, which you truly never know what you're going to get. When we come back, we've got a segment called Truth in Advertising. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F. Face drooping. A. Arm weakness. S. Speech difficulty. T. Time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm going to do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. We've got a little thing we talk about a couple times each show. It is the Fenix Line, our 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, giving you guys the opportunity to chime in on anything, including our call-in topic of the day, which we like to give 24 hours in advance. That number, 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973. For the alphanumerically impaired, all we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We'll compile those together, put them out in a future show. Now, tomorrow's topic is podcast Sharapalooza. What podcasts are you listening to, besides ours, of course, that you just can't get enough of? We want to know about it. We want to hear, is it entertaining? Is it, one of these murder mystery podcasts? Is it, what is it? We want to know. So that's what we're talking about tomorrow. Just be sure not to drop the N-bomb because that doesn't fly.
No, we apologize. When we use our stereo app, we don't know what's going to come through. Obviously, we're not regulated by the FCC, but we don't want to offend anyone on this show. So on behalf of that little idiot, we apologize. That and it was brief, but there's no delays and there's no reason to use that word. So
exactly, yeah.
Just so with that being said, Like, we like to have a good time, funny. You drop the occasional F-bomb. That's haha. When you start dropping racial slurs, we're not putting up with that crap. We're done with that.
Exactly. So again, we apologize, but you know what? We move on to the lighter side of things. As we mentioned, we are your daily dose of laughs and levity. So, let's
like
get
the mumbling guy.
guy.
There's your laughs and levities. F. B.
He was from the deep South.
Yeah, I wish if we had if we would have had the Johnny Depp Charlie soundbite. What, little kid, you're mumbling. Still mumbling.
Well, folks, let's go ahead and roll into our next segment, which I've titled Truth in Advertising, where we're looking at brand slogans, basically what they should be if they were actually honest. So, Tony, I'm going to run these down, see if you agree or disagree, but for the most part, they're pretty hilarious. So let's start with our very first one. The brand is Internet Explorer. Their brand slogan should be the best browser for downloading Chrome.
That's the fact, Jack.
Who uses Internet Explorer anymore, right?
No one. Like anymore, I think you have Chrome and Microsoft Edge. I think they've done away and they've tried to call it Microsoft Edge.
They did. They tried rebranding. It's the same thing. It's still Internet Explorer. There's Firefox as well, but still much better than Microsoft's built-in.
No, it's funny you use "That's the fact, Jack" soundbite. I happened to be turning on the radio yesterday morning, and KBPI was on, and they were using that same soundbite.
No kidding.
Yeah, they were talking about random facts, and they kept using that same soundbite. They used "That's the fact, Jack," and then there's just a little snippet after that, whatever he says. And
I think we might need to collect some royalties there.
Yeah, thanks, Bill Murray. Like, you don't get any of those.
Let's keep moving on with truth in advertising, brand slogans, at least what they should be. The next one is IKEA. Visit for the meatballs, stay because you can't find your way out.
That's the fact, Jack.
Oh, so true. I love IKEA. That's I know Mike and Lacey love going with me to IKEA for the random things that I leave in the doll section there. No, seriously though, that store, you got to go one way, man. So you get to the food court, you're at the halfway point, but then do you go downstairs? Like, yeah, you've got to really follow the pattern because it's a trip. It's quite a trip.
It's a labyrinth, but in the middle isn't a minotaur. It's Swedish meatballs. So
it is. Yeah.
Nice little trade-off there. Let's keep rolling on, talking truth in advertising, brand slogans, or at least what they should be. For instance, Friskies, cat food. Slogan
what
should
got
be
into that cat?
42 flavors your cat won't eat.
That's the fact, Jack.
Never
Don't
owned
have
a
cat, but I know they're picky.
Yeah, never owned a cat either. But Mike and Lacey, or especially Lacey, you have to let us know if your cats eat the Friskies, because I don't know. I just don't know. I had a dream last night I had a cat.
Kind of strange. All right.
Yeah, it was random. Yeah.
You can buy it any one of 42 varieties of Friskies to not have it eat, at least in your dream. All right. Let's keep rolling on, talking truth in advertising, brand slogans, at least what they should be. This one, nail on the head. Facebook, making it easier to stalk people since 2004.
That's the fact, Jack.
Sand Patrol. Sad but true. Yeah, man. This is why I have to come up with a radio moniker, because I'm not opening up my Facebook for everybody.
Right.
Just because you just never know, man. But it's not like I put all my personal info in there, but
some people do.
Yeah, some people put everything, phone numbers, like. But if you wanted to see what town you're in, you got to be real careful what you put on there, because once it's in there, all you have to do is Google, and then your stuff is right there. So
there forever, no matter how much you delete it. It's sitting in a server somewhere.
Delete. Yep.
Exactly.
A good slogan, though.
Totally. Speaking of good slogans, we're talking truth in advertising. What brand slogans should be? For instance, Trojan condoms, 100,000 times cheaper than kids.
That's the fact, Jack.
Bill Murray hit. I mean, that was the perfect response. That is the fact, Jack.
Yeah, you know.
They had the rant. They had such a good jingle. Even when you're a kid, you didn't know what it was. Like when you were little.
Man.
Dome, dome.
I thought it was a USC thing. Apparently.
Yeah. No.
Let's keep rolling on. Truth in advertising, brand slogans, at least what they should be. This one for the show, one of your favorites, Tone, The Simpsons. We don't predict the future. The problems of the 90s were just never fixed. I don't know. I still think that they predict the future.
That's the fact, Jack.
The one with the one of the best ones was the Donald Trump one with him going up the escalator in that Simpsons, and they did the same thing, like in real life. It was pretty close.
There are so many. In fact, that might be a fun topic to cover is times that the Simpsons accurately predicted the future.
Yeah.
I'm going
to
have
to
add
good. Yeah. Good stuff.
Rolling on, truth in advertising, brand slogans, what they should be. For instance, Nike, let's face it, you're not going to actually do it.
That's the fact, Jack.
It's true.
No, they do say just do it, but it's not true. I wear Nikes. I still can't figure out what the hell I'm going to do when my lease is up.
Right.
Yeah, I wear Nike stuff all the time. I know it says just do it, but just do what? There's a lot of options. A lot of stuff on the table, Nike.
Should be Nike. Just consider it.
Lacey does not feed her cat Friskies, just the good stuff. So that's saying that's a burn on Friskies. What got into that cat? Friskies.
As far as I can tell, Friskies is bottom of the barrel cat food. So probably better that you don't feed it. All right, moving on. We're talking truth in advertising. Brands with slogans that should be true. For instance, Twitter ruined someone's career because they made a bad joke 8 years ago.
Oh, truth.
And that goes back to what we were saying. It lives forever on social media. You put it there once, even if you were trying to be funny and you don't expect times to change the way that they have, it's still there.
Oh, good for you. I'm glad Twitter and stuff wasn't around when we were younger.
Oh, thank God.
No, because you remember Facebook used to be that way. It used to be just you posted a status. That was all you did. There was nothing else to it, just a status.
Yeah, not pictures, not videos.
I can't wait for the concert tonight. I always get reminded of those like really cheesy ones I posted in like 2009 when I joined in 10. Dude, it's another Volbeat show. Woo! Although I missed those. I would love a Volbeat show.
I would love any live
show. It's been a long time. Mike went to one last night. He saw Otherwise.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. He took Bella. Yeah. Her first rock show.
Well, let's keep rolling on, talking truth in advertising, brand slogans, what they would be if they were truthful. This one I love. Hot Pockets. Every bite is a different temperature.
That's the fact, Jack.
It's so true. It doesn't matter if you put it in the stupid little folding thing that it requires. It always and I hate Hot Pockets for the sense that it's so damn hot from the first couple bites, burn your tongue hot because you listen to the stupid box. And then the back end is hot, but that middle, iceberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time, dude. It doesn't matter what microwave you have. It's the same shit from start to finish, which is why I got away from eating Hot Pockets. They're not breathtaking. Dr. Evil lied to us. I mean, when they do cook out, they're not terrible in a pinch, but
good luck.
Good luck cooking it through, man.
Oh, and then finally, in truth in advertising, brand slogans, if they were truthful. Target, when you'll pay a little more not to shop at Walmart.
That's the fact.
Truth. 100% truth. People don't mind paying the extra few because they don't have to go to Walmart.
Exactly. I'm right there with them. Well, folks, that does it for this segment of Truth in Advertising. When we come back, we are headed into the final segment of the show. It is time for This Day in History, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky. Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks, and we made it to the final segment of this episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. Now, if you missed a portion of the show or you want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, it's easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, Doozer, Dozer, Geezer, Gozer.
Are you a god?
Oh, no. Boy, just doomed us and took off, right?
Yeah, he went running. Frickin' Knuckles.
Well, folks, while you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review. Let us know what you think and tell your friends. Because why, Tony?
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring, which is why we do this segment each and every day. At the end of the show, we like to drop a little knowledge on you, hopefully make you laugh at the same time. It is time for This Day in History.
Crossing the globe for the stories that turn the world on its head. It's This Day in History with your correspondent on the beat,
Kristian Fenix.
Thanks, Siri. All right, kicking off This Day in History, this day in 1560, Giovanni, son of Italian mathematician Girolamo Cardano, is executed for poisoning his wife despite his father's efforts to save him.
Fatality.
How does a mathematician save his son from murder?
Yeah, if I calculate correctly, I will be able to save you. Even though you tried to kill your wife, you're probably going to die, but don't worry, I'm going to try to save you.
Bazinga.
Moving on.
Dad
This
lied.
day in 1742, George Friedrich Hansel's oratorio Leper Messiah, just Messiah, performed for the first time at New Music Hall in Dublin.
Bow to Leper Messiah! Da, da, da.
I'd assume that sounds pretty close to
what with the cotton hair. The people watching are like, what the hell was that? George Frederick Hansel, he's got like this cloud of hair. It looks like he stuck his head in a cloud. It's just this cloud, and he's got like this big chin with the Peter Griffin chin. So he's got like the big extra down there. I would imagine that's how he's saying.
Fair enough. Unfortunately, we can't go back to that time, so we don't know for sure. But let's move on. This day in 1796, the Battle of Millesimo, Italy. Napoleon's forces defeat allied armies of Austria and of the Kingdom of Sardinia, Piedmont. Of course, we all know how he celebrated. He headed over to Farrell's, got himself a Piggly Wiggly trough.
Excellent!
All right, moving on. This day in 1868, Abyssinian War ends as British and Indian troops capture Magdala and Ethiopian Emperor Tewodros II, and apparently he commits suicide upon that conquering, which is it's sad, but it's part of our history.
Look at that guy! Ha ha ha! He's on the ground! Ha 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 ha! Look at our hats, troops! Ha ha ha! They're like stormtroopers, but better! Ha 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 ha!
Tony is verbalizing the illustration that accompanied it. Let's roll on. This day in 1869, nice. Steam power brake is patented by George Westinghouse. Every time his name pops up, is he the same Westinghouse that makes cheap televisions and microwaves that they sell at Walmart?
I think so.
Or
in
CVS.
fact, somebody tried to return. I thought they actually did return it. It was like a Westinghouse baking kit thing. It was a fryer. It was a Westinghouse fryer. They tried to return it, and we said no, so they left it in our parking lot. So that's what was back. I thought it was a return. I'm like, how in the hell did we take this back? But it wasn't, thank God. But we have to ship any electronic stuff, has to get shipped back. So
based on how cheap those products are, I don't know how much I'd trust a steam-powered brake from them.
No.
Let's keep rolling on. This day in 1904, U.S. Congress authorizes a Lewis and Clark Expedition $1 gold coin. That would be something I'd like to have my hands on these days.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Lewis and Clark, man. Those dudes, little exhibitioners. They like to travel. They went on expeditions.
That they did. It was Sacagawea who got a knockoff $1 gold coin.
Yeah.
Oddly enough. Let's keep moving on. This day in 1954, Milwaukee Braves Hank Aaron's first game. Of course, we know he went on to become the home run leader for a period of time, surpassing Babe Ruth.
Yeah, he did. Hank Aaron, hell of a player, and the backyard neighbor to the kids in the Sandlot.
It sounded amazingly like James Earl Jones.
Yes, it was so weird.
Rolling on. This day in 1954, physicist and father of the atomic bomb Robert Oppenheimer is accused of being a communist. Ooh. If he actually was a communist, that would be terrifying, considering that what he could do with his knowledge.
Yeah, yeesh. Way to go, Oppenheimer.
Moving on. This day in 1963, Pete Rose triples for his first major league base hit. And it still perplexes me that he's not even considered for the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Nope, but you can find him in Las Vegas signing every day, I think. And he's
he
always
likes
there.
signing, that's for sure.
Yeah, we've seen him a couple of times in Vegas just randomly. But again, it's one of those things like MLB, happy to honor his records, happy to do all that, but you can't be in the Hall of Fame, which is why I always say, as much as I love the MLB, Hall of Fame's kind of a joke.
It is, yeah.
Don't mean to be mean, but it's just true. Some of their standards and crap is I shake my head. Well, you still honor these records. Why honor the records if you're not going to honor the person that did those records? Well, it's a double standard.
Like I was saying, just the fact that they didn't induct anybody last year goes to show they're not really taking things seriously.
No. I'm sorry. It should be based on a lot of what they do. Like, if you go back, I know like McGuire and Bonds, they won't get in. But if you look before they juiced, mean, they were still hitting the ball, man. They were still MVPs and things like that. They just kept their career elevated by doing things they probably shouldn't have done. But the early stuff, man, you go back and look at that stuff. I can go on baseball rants for a while.
I still say that baseball would be more entertaining if they let everybody juice.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's just a lot of home runs, man. Come play at Coors Field.
Well, let's keep rolling on. This day in 1994, asteroid 7373 Takei is discovered and named after Star Trek actor George Takei. Oh my.
Oh my, indeed. I didn't have the soundbite for that one. I could look it up, but yours was just perfect.
And that's an awesome honor to bestow somebody who was so part of science fiction and space, naming a asteroid after him.
As long as that asteroid wasn't about to destroy Earth, then yeah, it's it's a nice way to be honored.
Exactly.
Could you imagine if asteroid Takei was the one that hit Earth and caused catastrophic events? Yeek.
Yeah, that would suck to be named after.
Oh my.
Moving on, this day in 2004, Barry Bonds hits his 661st career home run, passing his godfather Willie Mays on the MLB all-time list. And of course, we know that he would go even further with that, becoming the leader in a highly contested battle between him and Sammy Sosa.
Oh, that was a fun year in baseball, man. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That it was. And then finally, this day in 2015, Avengers Age of Ultron, directed by Joss Whedon, starring Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, and Jeremy Renner, premieres in Los Angeles. Great movie, great addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Of course, Joss Whedon is dealing with his own demons right now, but luckily we got the best of him before Hollywood cancels him, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I got a feeling you can be canceled for a while. But hey, we got the Avengers out of that, and good memories of going to Hall H that during that time, the year before that. So
yeah, no, fun movie and worth going back and checking out.
It really does. It holds up well.
Before we head out for the day, let's run down some of today's holidays, where we talk about the things that we like, to celebrate. For instance, I can't even believe that this is a holiday. It is International Be Kind to Lawyers Day.
Nah.
Oh, are we hurting their feelings? Those blood-sucking lawyers?
Yeah. Unless you got Jim Carrey as your lawyer, you don't need to be that kind.
Pen is blue.
Mr. Reed.
It is International Functional Neurological Disorder Awareness Day. Boy, I almost had a functional neurological disorder just trying to read that. It is National Library Workers Day. I didn't know those things still exist. It is National Make Lunch Count Day. Tony, make your lunch count today.
It will be good today. It's leftover tacos.
It is National Thomas Jefferson Day. And
moving on up to the east side.
It is National Scrabble Day. Different Jefferson.
I know. It's his birthday today.
Scrabble's a good one to play. Maybe bust out those words with friends. And then finally, it is National Peach Cobbler Day, which sounds delicious. Those are one of the few fruity desserts that I actually enjoy. Well, folks, that does it for today's episode. We will be back tomorrow on a Wednesday with Words Are Hard Wednesday. So enjoy your Tuesday, folks. Go ahead and play some Scrabble, eat some peach cobbler, visit the library, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Peace!